Shalom. I'd like to first start off giving all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to all the Akim across the four corners of the earth that's doing this work in faith and sincerity that potentially are of the elect. I'm going to go into the book of Nahum, chapter 3, verse 1. I'm going to read through the fifth verse. And America, time is up, America, through Esau, the biblical Edomites, or the so-called white man, and their time for ruling is just about up. The Most High is about to rain destruction upon this place. The so-called white man believes he's going to establish his new world order, but the Most High going to let him get so far before he intervene and destroy this place, man, and destroy all his plans and his whole agenda, So I'm going to go ahead and get it. And I'll say this too. 2017 is it's about 2 weeks away. 2017 is 2 weeks away. And this could be the very year that the Most High take down the so-called white man, Esau, the Edomites, in their kingdom, which basically is America, or you can just say NATO and the EU, which is pretty much the ruling force of the earth, So the elect, should be hoping and praying every month that come by, goes by, every year that goes by, that year could be the very year that the Most High destroy Babylon the Great, the beast, So let's go ahead and get into the scriptures. This is Nahum chapter 3, verse 1. Woe to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departed not. So this so-called white man got a lot to pay for, man. He has to pay for the blood that he shed here on the soils of America and all throughout the Americas, So this is applying to Babylon the Great. And he shed the blood of the Native American Indians, which according to the scriptures, that's the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben, which are part of the 12 tribes of Israel. He also shed the blood of many so-called Negroes, which is of the tribe of Judah and Issacharites, And even into this very day, the so-called white man is slaying Israelites, in the streets of America. And this place is also built upon lies, lies. I mean, lie upon lie upon lie, man. America is nothing but a big ball of lies. Once you peel back so many lies, you got to keep going, because the whole origin of this place is established and founded upon lies, and the robbery, this place was stolen or robbed from the Native American Indians. This was their land. The Most High, gave them this land to occupy, and the so-called white man, being a devil that he is, stole this land, and did it in a wicked, treacherous, devilish way, And the scripture reads on, and it says, the prey departed not. So the prey are the Israelites, being preyed upon mainly by the so-called white man, but also by the other nations, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Arabs, the East Indians. So you got the Moabites, the Ammonites, that's the Chinese and the Japanese. Then the Arabs would be the Ishmaelites, and then you have the East Indians. Those are the Elamites. So brain got clouded for a second. You got the Hamites over here, which are the so-called Africans, which the so-called Negroes are not Africans. So the prey departed not. We are still here under this so-called white man, all his rules and regulations. We under his image. Now the true men of the Lord don't worship and don't bow down to his image, but we are under certain rules and regulations that make up the image of the beast, which is the so-called white man's his power structure, his whole setup of NATO and the EU. So continuing on, it says the horsemen lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear. That represents the so-called white man's military. Now I tell you that Esau was going to get a blessing. Isaac gave him a blessing, which really came from the Most High through Isaac. And Esau said he was going to receive the fatness of the earth, and he was going to also be blessed with the sword. He was going to live by the sword. So the glittering spear and the bright sword represents the so-called white man, his military might, and through the guns, the modern day sword would be his guns, his missiles, and so forth. And his military is going to be destroyed, in the Third World's War. You can read about that in numerous scriptures. One that comes to mind is the book of Joel, I believe the third chapter, second or the third chapter. But continuing on, it reads, highlight that verse. And there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses, and there is none in of their corpse. They stumble upon their corpses. So this time is coming, man. We're approaching the time where, it's going to be mass death here in America. It's going to be mass death in the Middle East. It's going to be body upon bodies over there in the Middle East. And a lot of the military are going to come from over here out of America, or the military men and women, they're going to come out of America that's going to fight over there in the Middle East, Now, this next verse, the so-called white man got to pay for this because, he's the author of what this scripture is about to read. Let's get into it. It reads, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. So the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the well-favored harlot is America, and whoredoms, or prostitution, in other words, spiritual fornication. The so-called white man has spread his he said the multitude of whoredoms represent the so-called white man spiritually sleeping with all these different nations, and putting his philosophies upon them, or forcing his philosophies upon all the nations across the planet Earth, whether it be his so-called religion, whether it be his military being in their land, whether it be his financial, like his central banking, his banking system, his entertainment, and all the all kind of different philosophies that the so-called white man basically spreads across the planet Earth, And America is the well-favored harlot, because everybody is, at one point in time, I go as far as to say that, at one point in time, everybody looked at America and wanted to deal with America, whether it was coming over here to indulge in so-called freedom from a socialist government, and they get into all the philosophies of America, or whether America go over to these different countries and spread their democracy, their money system, as far as, setting up central banks. So America got to pay for that, because all these nations have woken up to that America was full of shit. They would prosper for a period of time, but eventually they was going to get stabbed in the back, and they was going to be in debt, and they was going to have to run for the border, or kick America, want America to be kicked out of their country for screwing it up, So I'll read on. It says, the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. So this country, which is headed by Esau, they deal with witchcraft. Everything that they do is based upon witchcraft. Whether they sending their military out to do some wickedness in the earth to another nation, whether it is the money system that they got set up, whether it is the so-called Christianity through the Vatican, headed by the Vatican City, whatever it's dealing with, they're bugged out philosophies that they pull philosophies from these ancient kingdoms and refabricated them and promote them in the world, mainly here in America, but they push it all throughout the planet. And it's all based upon witchcraft. They got their witches and warlocks that do their demonic, perform their demonic rituals and ask for power on the left-hand side to perform their agenda. Whether it's through their mass media here in America to pollute the minds of the people, or spreading out their democracy in other countries, and etc., man. And then I'm going to read the 5th verse, and I'm going to go ahead and close out. It reads, behold, I am against thee, said the Lord. That's Yahweh. So I'm against thee, said Yahweh of hosts. I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. So all that's saying is the Most High is going to blow, is going to lift the skirt up to where it'll hit the so-called white man in his face, So they're gonna lift it all the way up, and that's happening right now. It's been happening for many years. The so-called white man is revealing and exposing all the treachery and lies of this so-called country, And then you got the prophets that's really bringing out, the treachery and lies and deceit that this white man is pushing. We the ones that bring out the money system, the Federal Reserve notes. That's witchcraft, man. For you to really believe that fiat currency is actual money, then you've been deceived, If you believe in this man's military, if you believe you can obtain the American dream, you under his witchcraft, man. And we the ones bringing out, the information about the Illuminati, the information about how you got to sell your soul in one way or another to make it in this place. How the so-called white man sets up false flag terrorist attacks across the earth so he can infiltrate other lands, So the Most High, let me read it again. Behold, I am against thee, said the Lord of hosts. I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And you can continue reading. The next verse is a good verse. I'll go ahead and read it. It says, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and I will set thee as a gazing stock. And pretty much we in that state right now. Well, America, I ain't gonna say we, because I'm not a part of this place, even though I gotta live under this power structure, you know. We at that stage right now to where the nations have seeing that America was full of shit, that there was no truth about what they promoted in the earth. You know, it was all lies. It got them in a bad position as a country. And, you know, this is a shameful thing right now. Nobody respects America. You know, if you're an American citizen that once believed in this place, you should be ashamed of this fucking place. You know? But, you know, these I'm gonna say this, you got Edomites that are ashamed. Shame to be an American, man. The ones that had the John Wayne spirit, the almighty American spirit, a lot of them are ashamed to be an American. Some even moving out the country, man, to different locations of the earth. You know? And the Most High done showed all the wickedness that the so-called white man then perpetuated and tried to cover up, but it's you know, it ain't work, Esau. You've been exposed, and this coming year might be the year that your power structure is destroyed, you know. And I pray and hope that, and the elect prays and hope that, you know. So with that, man, I'm gonna close out. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all the brothers across the planet Earth that are pushing this truth and faith and sincerity, who potentially are of the elect. Shalom.